about how to defend against these disasters. He didn't understand what that man meant. So he casually asked, "What? Are you one of the Divine Radiant Cult's people, little rascal?" That big man grunted. His attitude was much better than before. Before, when he had looked at Xian, he had resented that he couldn't kill him. However, right now, although he still cursed him, little rascal, he didn't seem to have any wicked intentions. Xian suddenly understood. "I come from the Endless Sea, and I have the Star Martial spirit. The Three Gods sect in the Endless Sea is one branch of the Gods sect. So that's right." Without waiting for Xian to finish his sentence, the man hurriedly screamed, "Come here. We need your star power. As long as you condense the Northern Dipper arrows and then integrate with my great sun power and moon power of Liu, we will be able to break the mountain and river seal's barrier." Beside him, a female warrior at the third sky of Sky Realm also nodded her head. This warrior named Liu, of the Divine Radiant Cult, looked ordinary. Her body was extremely skinny, her face was a little pale as if she hadn't been exposed to the sun for a very long time. At the moment, a violent energy fluctuation disaster currently submerged Kai Shao and the other people. Their entire bodies were now shining with dazzling lights as they were desperately struggling with miserable faces. Zuo Shi couldn't just abandon her master and her grandfather. Don't worry too much. You go up first, then we will talk later, Shi Yan shouted. The divine radiant cult behind Zuo Shi also frowned and urged her. She then reluctantly continued to climb toward the top. Not long after that, all of the divine radiant cult warriors had climbed up. Zhao Feng and Li Yu simultaneously looked at Shi Yan and shouted together, "Hurry up. Little kid, don't waste others' time." What? Others are waiting for you. Zhao Feng stared at him. If it were somebody else, he would go right away. You have the chance now. Why are you hesitating? The warriors of the other two teams had come close to the center of the lake. From a distance, Kai Shao and the others were now submerged in the disasters. Cold sweat beaded on their foreheads as they seemed to resist strenuously. If he went up now, perhaps Kai Shao and Zuo Shu would stay here forever. I can wait for a while longer, Shi Yan sneered and moved backward. He looked at Zhao Feng and Li Yu and said, "You guys go first. I will catch up later." Zhao Feng and Li Yu were astonished and immediately scolded Shi Yan for not being wise. While muttering, the two of them stepped forward and then climbed on the stone ladder. "You too," Shi Yan shouted. "What else do you want?" "How troublesome," Zhao Feng angrily asked. "Please take care of my wife. We all come from the gods' sect. I will remember this favor," Shi Yan begged. Zuo Shi had gone up, but he didn't know what was waiting for them up there. He couldn't be together with Zuo Shi and was afraid that she would encounter some danger up there, so he could only beg Zhao Feng and Li Yu to help him take care of her. Zhao Feng coldly snorted and displayed an unhappy face. "Stinky little rascal, you are nonsense. If you don't come up here soon, you deserve to die because of your stupidity. There aren't many secret treasures, and if you are late, nothing will be left for you." While talking, Zhao Feng suddenly accelerated and gradually disappeared into the clouds. In the center of the lake, the other two powerful teams took advantage of this time and also went up to the corpse bridge and moved up along the bridge. Shi Yan suddenly turned his head and released the star shield. His entire body reddened. He then drilled into the center of the disasters. Lightning, flames, storms, and frost all swept over, covering the entire lake. These four strange forces which came from four mountains seemed to have a terrifying destruction power that could raise a variety of defenses. The star shield produced disasters as if it could. Under these four kinds of disasters, it was like Shi Yan. At this time, Kai and the other two different strange powers were about to combine. Shi Yan was like a white tiger rushing towards Zuo Shi and grabbed him by one of his hands. Chapter 199. Among others, Zuo Shu was in the third sky of Nirvana realm, and he had just reached this realm. He couldn't even be compared to Lao Li and Lao Lun. He was thus the weakest one. Under the invasion of the four kinds of disasters, Zuo Shu had to resist the hardest. His tattered clothes flashed up with blue lights. Under the impact of the four disasters, he seemed to have signs of being broken. With his cultivation base, it was hard for Zuo Shu to survive in these disasters. Shi Yan rushed forward as one of his hands pulled Zuo Shu's hand, shouted, and forcefully threw him out. A flow of strange power burst out. Shi Yan seemed to get infinite power at this moment. Although Zuo Shu was shrouded by four kinds of disasters, Shi Yan could still throw him out towards the center of the lake. At the center of the lake, warriors of other teams were getting on the course bridge. As soon as Zuo Shu landed at the center, the course bridge to the top without Kai Shao, cultivation base. Under the influence of the disasters, he still had and was slowly moving towards the top. After a quick glance, Shi Yan without external forces, he would still be safe. Shi Yan then made up his mind that it was not necessary to help Kai Shao. While his body power skyrocketed, he walked step by step to the two brothers, Lao Li and Lao Lun. Seeing Shi Yan coming, the two brothers were overjoyed while their eyes instantly brightened up. Although the two brothers were also the warriors of the Divine Radiant cult, their realm was still slightly low, and they didn't have too many secret treasures. So, they were encountering difficulties when facing the disasters. When Shi Yan came, the two of them realized that the fact that he didn't really made their hearts move. Shouted. His last energy fluctuation instantly burst out. Rampage, and now knows that his entire body somehow has power that could be compared to that of a mighty warrior. Shi Yan on his arms, who were well prepared, flew away towards the center of the lake. By that time, Kai Shao had also arrived in the center of the lake, and he was easily able to catch the two brothers and take them to the bridge. The two brothers didn't hesitate at all. Among the crowd, they hurriedly took the opportunity to climb on the corpse bridge. An ambush scream resounded from a warrior who was still at the edge of the lake. He was shrouded in disasters, but no one could rescue him. Secret treasures. Once his power and defense clothes were all wet, and her appearance looked quite awkward. Sweat appeared on her white face. Her eyes were full of panic while she put out all of her strength in her body to deal with the 4 disasters. More than 10 ribbons were fluttering in Kaiyi's cuffs. Each of them flashed up with colorful lights and vaguely covered her entire body. Under the influence of these 4 disasters, she launched the ribbons. They exploded one by one. Every time a ribbon exploded, Kaiyi's face changed a little bit. Each of those ribbons was Kaiyi's surviving defense in the circle. They were all destroyed. Followed by the of hesitation flashed across his eyes. Kaiyi and Aya were difficult to control. Aya had succeeded tricks which made her consciously control Kaiyi and save his Aya. He didn't know what would happen if he saved Kaiyi. Scroll over him as a target and calculations and adventures inside them. When they were at the lake, he had seen her entire naked body and violated her. Kaiyi hated to the core. Kaiyi would not be obedient in the future. Perhaps she would be like Aya. With this thought, she saved her and not just letting her fend herself. Kaiyi suddenly screamed out, "You said that before we get out of the darkness, we are still companions. Do you remember your promise? If you do, help me." Kaiyi aggressively looked at him. Her graceful face was filled with anxiety. Shdow then finally continued to use his hidden power, walking step by step towards her. "I obviously remember. I am not like that bitch Aya. If I say something, I will do it." Standing next to Kaiyi, he stretched out his hand, grabbing her in the waist, and used the starlight to cover her body to help her resist the 4 disasters. Being grabbed at her waist, Kaiyi looked restrained. Her body slightly trembled. She bowed her head, gently took a deep breath, and said with a low voice, "You have helped me this time. I will remember this. The last time you were in the lake, you violated me. I will consider it as a His arm wrapped around her waist, with amazing vibration. His heart shook as he suddenly remembered the fluttering of his pressed the capricious feeling of his heart. Kaiyi saw him dumbstruck all of a sudden, but didn't know what he was thinking. She hastily woke up, nodding her head with a brand of no worries. Impact on these disasters. The power of the flame changed. Otherwise, not many people could have resisted them. Now that I have decided, be safe now. He wrapped his arms around her waist and suddenly shouted. Various kinds of energy burst out. Horrifying emotions broke out from his body. Under the impact of different types of forces, even the color of those little spots covering his body also seemed to be enhanced. An intensive cluster of those starlight spots faintly formed a wonderful star diagram. The tremendous powers of flames, storms, lightning, and frost massively approached and fell on that star diagram. But as soon as they fell on it, they triggered the star diagram, which instantly shot out many beams of starlight. Starlight and the 4 disasters collided with each other, splashing countless more energy spots. Under the defensive star shield, Shdow was safe and sound. Making use of his sturdy body, he dragged Kaiyi step by step towards the corpse bridge. At this time, Shdow had already reached the corpse bridge and was climbing to the top. Seeing Shdow coming, Shdow displayed a cheerful face, nodded towards him and said, "Good boy." Shdow revealed a smile and brought Kaiyi to the safe area. His momentum suddenly soared, and violent energy fluctuations burst out from his body. When other warriors who were pushing and shoving saw Shdow coming, they could feel the powerful fluctuations rising from his body. Their eyes changed, and they immediately backed down obediently. "Let's go," Shdow hummed as he calmly went through these warriors. Kaiyi get on the corpse bridge first, stepping on the first piece. Under Shdow, quickly got to the top. Legs moved, pulling Shdow to pulled at heart as he was immediately aware that the negative emotions spread slowly. The warriors' dead and had absorbed a lot of blood from those warriors who had just died. The auras this time were much richer than before, and they kept pouring into his body and only stopped when he could barely bear it anymore. 720 acupuncture points in his body began to take in the negative emotions, which then slowly outflowed and affected his mind, enlarging his inner evil side and his original instinct. This time, his acupuncture points absorbed the auras which were more vigorous than before. Thus, the negative emotions were also much more violent than in the past. In the battle that was still raging, once all of the negative emotions would probably go out of control. If he fell into the destructive lust that lust burst out. The tough mind was able to control it. What would happen in the next second? Maybe even Zuo Shi would be destroyed as well. The only way to stop this violent madness seemed to be releasing that desire to alleviate its impact. However, in the present situation, how could he have enough time to release it? Who could give him that amount of time? Shiyan's eyes were burning up and stuck on Kaiyi's mesmerizing, sweaty body. When he looked at her butt and beautiful legs, the lust inside him was getting stronger. On one hand, it was the ruthless desire to kill. On the other hand, he had to find a girl to give vent to. These two options placed him in a dilemma. Either option didn't seem to be suitable for his current situation. He was really confused by the relative state of afraid that the final choices. There was always a choice, but these two options were not what Shiyan wanted. No matter what choice he made, neither seemed suitable for this occasion. The best choice would be that he would not be affected by these negative emotions. However, Shiyan clearly knew that every time the negative emotions burst out, one of his evil sides would be amplified. Even with perseverance, it was difficult to resist the demon. The torrential negative emotions flowed uncontrollably from his negative energy was absorbed into his body, penetrating his blood and affecting his soul, seeming to control his he gradually lost his eyes red, showing his exploded one by one under his feet and then turned into blocks of flesh with blood dripping down into the lake below. Boom, boom, boom. Every time he stamped his feet, the ancient corpses that were being trampled on shattered into pieces and fell. The corpse bridge below his upper body began to break. The ancient corpse bodies began to tear in half. They didn't seem to have any other strength to support the bridge, and suddenly started falling. The remaining warriors who were stepping on the ancient corpses screamed miserably and fell down with them. Unfortunately, Shiyan was out of control and didn't look down. His eyes were burning red while he turned his face, ignoring the screams of those warriors, and continued to move up along the corpse bridge. The painful screams were quickly silenced. The remaining warriors all had low cultivation. It had been difficult for them to come close to the corpse bridge, as the four disasters had drained almost all of their strength. As they fell into the lake again, their strength apparently couldn't resist the disasters. They were completely engulfed by the disasters. Not long after the warriors were killed, the four disasters quickly engulfed. Not even the blood was left. Shiyan was going on heavily to the top of the cliff. She stood aside as she didn't dare to get involved in this fight. She just watched those warriors attack and kill each other for the secret treasures in amazement. After getting up to the top and having a quick glance at this cruel battle, Zuoshu then stood together with Zuoshi and told her not to take any actions nor attract any attention from others. Zuoshi understood and was okay. She just watched but didn't get involved. She determinedly kept herself safe. The place where she was sitting was actually very secure. The warriors all could not hear because of those secret treasures. If she didn't gamble for those secret treasures, other warriors climbed up here. Kai Shdow side where Zuoshi brothers revealed pressure on their faces. Loudly waited for Kai to come close and asked with a cheerful face, "Should we take action?" Kai Shdow took a deep breath. Watching this cruel battle, he slightly shook his head and said, "Wait a moment. Shiyan will come up soon, and then we will discuss this." The two brothers both nodded at the same time. The water here was very strange. It was next to the crowd, but no one was aware of it. People thought it was just an illusion and had no influence on them. It was a flat layer of stones under their feet. This land emitted white lights, which were constantly floating like a small boat. Most of the warriors here were in the Spy realm. Battle. Extremely dangerous. They were facing a desolate fate. Sky of Sky there were Sky warriors, Sky warriors, and the remaining ones were Sky realm. Apart from there were another two on a realm. What? Kai Shao, Lao Li, Zuo Shi, and the others asked at the same time, what do you mean? I am not sure. Kai Yi shook her head while her face was very weird. I feel that he fears of being possessed by the devil. Possessed by the devil, everyone's face changed. He has very strong energy waves, but he seems to have lost his mind. He was full of violent, murderous aura as if he wanted to destroy everything. I don't know how or why he is in this state. When I was above him, I could feel that he wanted to kill me. The feeling was extremely terrible. After hearing these words, Kai Shao and the others Xiao's face changed dramatically. He screamed in fear. I fear that Shi Yan has really fallen in the possessed by the devil state. I don't know what this kind of state will cause. Let's go there and check. Zuo Shi was in a little bit of a panic and was conscious enough to go next to Shi Yan to ask him what had happened. Blood flowed out from their eyes, and they had to sit down on the ground. Shi Yan let out a loud roar which was full of a violent and fierce power. This evil aura kept increasing and affecting all warriors. The sea of consciousness of the Nirvana realm warriors could hardly control their minds. Thus, that evil aura hit their sea of consciousness directly and stirred it up, and as a result, their sockets bled. On the contrary, although Zuo Shi's face was still, she was still moving down. The sea of consciousness hadn't formed strength to control your mind. Don't think too much. Li Yu's eyes flickered, looking at Shi Yan from a distance. She then spoke to Xiao Feng. That method you just said is useless for him. This kind of possessed by the devil state is not caused by cultivating the will of depravity. With this kind of possessed by the devil state, it is not easy for him to restore himself just by meditation. I am afraid that this guy has cultivated some evil technique which has led to some variations that now have affected his mind. This situation is difficult to reverse. Quote dot. Ah, Zhao Feng screamed and blankly looked at Shi Yan without knowing what he should do for now. He has become crazy already. Stay too close to him. Teenage warrior on his face, snorting, said impatiently, at this time, he really he was talking to the firearm stash toward him. On the way, the bloody flesh body of the ancient corpse fell off, leaving only a skeleton. Under the repulsive force, the skeleton of the corpse abruptly burst out. Its hard, thick, long bones turned into a stream of blood, splashing on Xian's body.
Come on, man, I need to win these things. Yeah. Dotty, our hero has just had to last until midnight. Yeah. Man. Round 1 completed. When our opponent deal damage, you deal some of that damage back to them. Yeah. There's no 5-piece solution. Critical dance with this game. Yeah. At the start of rounds of your temporary block, break opponent block, critical damage increase, critical damage size. santean. Ya. Ayo. Ini warnanya aneh. Mau sih, ini lọt á.